Daddy, why they build all those pyramids, chapter 66, April 2, 2189 AD, debate. How about the soldier next to him in a wheelchair? What happened to you, sir, if I may ask? Lost both legs in Vietnam in '70, sir, the soldier said loudly enough for the stage mics to pick up. He then saluted, and General Paul returned his salute. Waiting for your answer, General Alexander, Paul said, tapping his finger on his podium. The world is waiting, Paul said. What's your cut-off point, General? Paul said, gesturing his open palm toward the audience. We evaluate each case on an individual basis, Alexander said, each word sticking in his throat. Again, General Alexander, what's your cutoff? Who's worthy? Paul pressed. Again, General Paul, we evaluate each case. You yourself said you're God, or whoever judges each person. In fact, you yourself, a child murderer, have been judged. I assure you, sir, you would not pass our screening. But you are welcome to come and go through our evaluation process. Some saliva was now returning to Alexander's parched mouth. Paul now was silent, but not because, as Alexander surmised, Paul was rattled. Paul just needed a moment to calm the anger welling inside him. General Alexander, you have just explained to this audience, this world, this universe, the essential difference between the New Eden and the New Jerusalem. Alexander opened his mouth to speak. How? But Paul didn't let him in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the New Eden tells all of you if you are capable of choosing wisely or not, if you should live or die. The New Jerusalem lets all of you, each and every one of you, choose. It lets you decide whether you live or die. Alexander again opened his mouth, but to no avail. In the Garden of Eden, my God, your God, let the beautiful Eve choose. He didn't tell her how to choose. He didn't tell her whether or not she was capable of choosing. He put the poison sign on the apple, but he let her choose. Paul pounded his fist on the podium with each word. And did she choose wisely? Paul said, raising his voice. No, came the loud reply from the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, my God, your Creator, let Eve choose, and He will let each and every one of you choose. He doesn't select out just the strong. He doesn't even choose for you. He lets every human being that ever lived choose. I hope and pray each of you will choose wisely. Paul put his hands on the podium. They were both shaking with emotion. The silent audience digested what they had just heard. Generals, this is all the time we have. Each of you has 2 minutes for a closing statement, and I remind you, our audience, that the second debate and final debate is scheduled for 1 week from tonight, April 9, at this same time and place. Lucifer of New Eden will debate Jesus Christ of New Jerusalem. General Alexander, you may begin. The closing statements went according to form. The early polls called the debate a draw, but Alexander was berated by Bells upon his return to Evil Inc. headquarters, so much so that Alexander offered to resign. Luke vetoed the idea. Paul was commended personally by Jesus, who reassured him that he most certainly would have a place in the New Jerusalem.